Sometimes you might feel like you're just going in circles, but today that's exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm going to be bringing you 6 different crochet projects that only use circles. So when we first learn to crochet, we typically learn how to crochet a rectangle, and then once we've mastered that, we often move on to crocheting a circle. These are really the 2 basic shapes that just about everything else in crochet is based off of. We just make adjustments to the rectangle shape, we make adjustments to working in the round to that circular shape, and we can create any kind of shape that we want. But it is important to master working in the round and to master making circles, but sometimes when you're practicing working in the round, you feel like you're just going in circles. And how many ways can you actually use a crochet circle? Well, fortunately, I'm bringing you 6 ideas today of projects that use just crochet circles. So let's start off with a very simple project. Project number 1 that uses just a circle is to crochet a coaster. I typically recommend cotton yarn if you're going to be crocheting a coaster, because if you use something like acrylic and you set something really hot on there, you have the potential to melt the acrylic yarn. But if you know you're going to use your coasters just for cold beverages and you're not going to have anything super hot on them, you'd probably be able to get away with acrylic yarn, but just keep that in mind. If you want to watch a tutorial where I show how to make a very simple round coaster yet with a very cute border on it, you can click the card up there for that tutorial, but you could also stick with just basic double crochet worked in the round to make a coaster as well. Idea number 2 is to make a face scrubby or makeup remover. I don't quite know what to call it, but basically instead of using disposable cotton rounds when you're using your face cleanser or you're taking your makeup off, you can crochet a round little pad that you can use over and over again. Again, I would recommend cotton just because it'll clean easily and it's soft, and I would specifically recommend using Hobby Lobby's I Love This Cotton because that stuff is so soft and it typically washes very nicely. But really, you can opt for any kind of soft yarn. Something thin might also work well because it might wash out a little bit better. I did have the thought of using the scrubby yarn, and then it could be like an exfoliating face scrubby, but the more I was thinking about it, that would probably be way too rough for the skin on our faces. But that might work for like exfoliating your arms, your legs, or like your heels or something like that. I haven't actually tried that, but just kind of a random idea I thought I'd throw out there. Idea number 3 is to crochet a circle that can act as a hot pad. Now with this, I would for sure recommend using cotton yarn, because say you take your boiling pot of water for tea and you set it on acrylic yarn, it has a very good chance of melting. Now I just used scrap yarn, but it was just for illustration purposes. Definitely stick with cotton for this one. Idea number 4 is another kitchen application, and that is a pan protector. So frying pans are a very frustrating thing to buy because they always make these big claims, and there's so many different kinds, but they don't always hold up their claims. But one of the big things is non-stick pans or pans with special finishes. They work great until you scratch the finish off. And one of the most common ways that they get scratched is if you store your pans stacked up, the pan sitting on the non-stick surface can scrape off that finish, and now your pan doesn't work the way it's supposed to. So the pan protectors are basically just crochet circles that you can set between your pans when you stack them up, so that way there's something protecting the surface of your frying pans. Once you make the circle, you could even add a little loop so that way it can slide around the handle, so when you unstack and restack, they all have one still with them. I don't know if the way I'm wording that makes sense, but hopefully the video clip clears that up. Project number 5 that you can make from a crochet circle is to make a rug. And these are so fun because you can make them as big or as small as you want. This is again a great way to use up scrap yarn. And I have a video about how to make one yarn ball out of all your scrap yarn. I'll link that up there if you want to check it out. But you just work your stitches in the round in a big circle until it's the size that you want. For this project, you could also use multiple strands of yarn all at once in a larger hook, and that'll make a thicker rug and a chunkier circle overall. And you could even use long strips of scrap fabric to crochet a circular rug. But they're super cute, and these can be a great way to give purpose to your scrap yarn or to scraps of fabric you have left over. And idea number 6 is to make a candle rug. It's basically just a smaller version of a real rug, but it's a little rug or mat, whatever you want to call it, that you can put under your candle. I've seen lots of these online. I've seen some square versions, I've seen some round versions, but I think they're super cute. And I'm going to show you a little way that once you make the circle, you get a little extra touch to it to make it just that much cuter. So to add the fringe to our candle rug, it's very simple, and I'm going to use the same yarn for the tassels, but of course you can use some different yarn. So the first thing to make the fringe, to make the tassels, is we need to cut several short pieces of yarn. And to quickly and easily do that, you can wrap it around something like a water bottle. I'm just going to wrap around my phone so I can get all my lengths to approximately the same length, and of course we will do some trimming at the end. So I'm going to wrap this around a bunch of times. If I need more later on, I can always cut some more, but I'm going to cut the tail off here. We'll slide this off the phone to make it easier. Got the little loop here, and I'm just going to cut it at either end. To cut all my pieces down to length all at once. Then I'm going to come to the edge of my project and I'm going to insert in the top of a stitch with my crochet hook. Once the hook is through, I'm going to take one of my cut pieces, fold it in half, and pull it on up through the loop. But I'm going to hang on to the two tail ends in the back, wrap them around again, and pull them on through the first little loop. So let me show you that again. So I'll go to the edge of the next stitch, insert my hook into the top, then wrap the tail end in half, and pull up a loop. Then with the loop still on my hook, I'm going to wrap the two tail ends around my crochet hook and use the hook to pull them through the little loop and cinch them up. And I'm going to repeat this all the way around. Insert my hook, fold a fringe piece in half, pull up a loop, catch the two tail pieces with my hook, and pull them on through to attach the fringe. If you want, you could also attach two to each stitch. So I would just take two of my fringe pieces. So take two of my pieces, fold them in half and wrap them around the hook, then pull a loop through, and then catch all those tail pieces and pull them through the loop to fasten them on if I wanted a thicker fringe, but I'm just going to stick with doing one at each spot. I'm going to repeat this all the way around, and then we'll trim our fringe to neaten it up. So now that I've added the fringe, I'm going to set my candle on top of it just to see how it's turning out. Oh, and it's so cute. I do want to trim the edge down a little bit, so I'm gonna probably cut it to about here and just keep it a nice short fringe. And I'm just going to eyeball this, and hopefully it turns out even enough. And remember, you can always trim more, but you can't add any more on, so trim carefully and maybe trim a little longer than you might think you want, because you can always trim more later on. And now that the short fringe is done, I can add my candle to the little candle rug. And I just think this looks so cute, and of course I have a Christmas candle on there, so you can make the rug Christmassy and festive, or you can match it to whatever season your candle is for. So I hope you enjoyed these 6 crochet projects that are made just using circles. I'd love to know in the comments which of these ideas is your favorite, and also let me know if there's any projects I missed. I'm sure I didn't cover everything that you can make using just a circle, so if you have other ideas of projects and ways to use crochet circles, be sure to drop those in the comments below. I love hearing y'all's ideas. But I hope this list gives you ideas of ways that you can practice working in the round while still making something productive and useful versus just making a bunch of random circles to practice. But anyways, I'm working on some more content. I've got some fall themed DIYs coming up, some that are crochet related, some just general crafting stuff, and I'm really excited to bring those to y'all. So be sure to subscribe, like the video, comment, all that good stuff, and I hope you're as excited as I am. Happy crafting!